Some planets conceal a silence that hurts more than screams. The little prince landed on one such planet and met a man who was drowning in a circle of shame and escape. He was a drinker, but bottles were not his biggest burden. That was a heart that couldn't accept its own fragility. The story of the drinker is not just a fairy tale about weakness. It is an image of us all, of moments when we run away from ourselves, when we seek oblivion instead of encounter, when we think that shame defines us. And this is where the fox enters the scene, tamed and wise, teaching that even in the shadow of pain, it is possible to find a seed of light. That acceptance is not blind love, but the courage to see even the wounds and stay. The fox's motto, "The circle of addiction is not broken by force. It is broken when someone believes they are worthy of love, even with their wounds." Meeting with the drinker. On a planet that was barely bigger than a table, sat a man. Around him lay empty and full bottles, like silent witnesses to his inner struggle. "What are you doing here?" asked the little prince gently, with genuine curiosity. "I'm drinking," the man replied, and in that word echoed sadness, like an echo in an empty cave. "Why are you drinking?" continued the prince. "To forget." "What do you want to forget?" The man lowered his head, as if he was afraid to confess even to his own shadow. "I'm ashamed." "Of what?" "I'm ashamed that I drink," he whispered. The little prince fell silent. The words he heard were like a knot without end. He wanted to help, but he didn't know how. And so he left, not out of anger, but out of helplessness. Voices that teach to stay. As the prince was leaving, the fox came. With a quiet step, she sat at his feet and looked him in the eye. "Do you understand what you saw?" she asked. The prince shook his head. "I would like to help him, but I don't know where to start." The fox smiled a sad smile. "What you saw is a circle. Shame breeds escape, and escape breeds more shame. A person drinks to forget even that they are ashamed, and they are ashamed that they drink. This is how it goes around and around until they lose the strength to see themselves." The prince was silent. "You can't take away his fight," the fox continued, "but you can show him that he is not just his weakness, that inside there is someone who is worth being loved. And that is the first step towards believing that there is a way out. Light in the shadow addiction is not just a thirst for drink. It is a thirst for love, for acceptance, for a touch that says, 'I see you,' even when you are hiding." Everyone who struggles with escaping into the silence of bottles, dreams, or screens carries within them a fragile core that longs to be healed. The greatest medicine is not reproach, but presence. To be nearby, even when we cannot solve everything. The fox laid her head on the prince's lap. Remember that love does not save instead of the other, but it lights a lamp so that they don't get lost in the night. But she added more emphatically, "Remember, Prince, that being nearby does not mean losing yourself. You can light a lamp, but the other person must take a step themselves. If you tried to carry their burden, you would stumble with them, and then you would both get lost." As the little prince left the drinker's planet, he felt both heaviness and hope within him. He already understood that some wounds a person carries alone, but they should never be carried lonely. The planet where addiction whispers is not a distant star. It is also our Earth, our cities, our rooms. And each of us can be that fox who stays when others turn away.